Jackals TV is back on the air, and we're here for the latest Jackals matchup against the Shower Hogs, a team they've played a decent amount in the last couple of years. This will be their third matchup of the season with a 1-1 record so far this year for the Jackals. A 3-1 win and followed by a 4-3 loss in the last contest these two teams played. Some lineup notes for the Jackals for today's game. They'll be down Jason, Aaron, and Darwin, all unable to play, and I've called up Troy Bannister to help out here tonight and fill out the roster. Another interesting lineup note is for the other team. The Shower Hogs will be dressing a player as a goalie today, or at least that's what we've been informed. So we'll see how that works out for them here tonight. So on that, let's head to the first period. And we start off with the puck in the Jackals zone, but this defenseman, as he saucers it across, Johnny Guns is going to jump in there, intercept it, head down on a breakaway, and as he shoots, he falls in towards the goaltender, and the puck goes through and into the net, and it's quickly 1-0 for the Jackals. And here you're going to be able to see the effect of having a player in net. That's something a goaltender would usually have saved, or at least made a better effort as that went through the 5-hole, but benefit to the Jackals. So a little bit later, they're on the attack again, and this puck gets moved up. Look at that little sweet little backhand move. That was a pretty nice move to get around Darryl there. And then a slap shot on the chance, but Trevor turns it aside. More offense from the Jackals. Here we see John passing it to Jer, and they're going to play catch with it a bit, back and forth. John's going to slide it back to Jeremy, but the goaltender gets the stick out there and disrupts that pass. A little bit later, here we see Darryl's going to pick this up in the neutral zone. He's going to delay and come across the middle, and he's going to try to shoot, but it's going to get deflected wide, but Troy goes right behind the net and gets it and puts it right back out front to Darryl, and he slams it home. And the Jackals stretch that lead to 2-0. And the Jackals keep coming. Here's going to be a turnover at center. Jared's going to pick that up, come in, open up in a mohawk, and fake the shot, pass it off to Johnny, who takes a shot from there and hits the back of the net. And that player whiffs on it and trying to clear it, and John picks it up as it rolls out front and slides it in the same spot of the net that Darryl put that last goal. And now it's 3-0 for the Jackals. And the first period's winding down, and the Jackals keep coming. Here's Troy picking up a pass on the right side. He sees David coming in late, hits him with the pass, shot on net, nice and low, where that goalie's been letting him in, but somehow that one hits him in the leg, so it's still just 3-0 as we head to the second period. Hogs are really looking to get back in this one. There's a play right in the middle. He walks alone into the high slot, gets a good look from there, but Trevor smothers that shot up, keeps it 3-0. So back the other way. Here comes Rob going down the right side. He's going to drop that puck to Chris Weeger, who's going to cut to the middle. He's got the same shooting lane as that last player and does a similar thing, puts it low. Goalie makes an awkward save and pushes that off to the corner. Here's Gary with an interception at center. He walks in and just throws it on net, and it looks like he was going to try to give himself a pass off the goalie's pads, but that finds its way through the goaltender. Not a good one there. And that's going to be, it looks like it maybe was even going to go wide, and the player dragged it back into the net. Gary scores unassisted, and it's 4-0. The Hogs do get one back, though. Here's a point shot that bounces right to that unchecked player off to the side of the net, and he bangs the rebound home to get the Hogs on the board. It's now 4-1. A little bit later, here we see Gary's going to put that puck up the middle. It gets turned over, and when the camera catches back up again, the players are down low, and that puck gets put towards the net, and the player coming in behind tips it past Trevor, and quickly the Hogs have cut this lead in half, 4-2. But then, with just 15 seconds left in the period, here's a one face-off in the offensive zone. Bob's shot is blocked. It comes right up to Bruce, and that almost goes through all the players into the net, and eventually it bounces around in front of the net until Darryl's able to sweep it home. And so, with just seconds left on the clock, this is going to be a 5-2 game as we head to the third period. And we've shown some rough looks for the Hogs goaltender, but let's look at a nice save here. Here's a point shot by David that gets slowed up, and then Jared gets it and pulls it to the forehand and tries to slide it home, and he gets across and makes a nice glove save to keep this a 5-2 game. Here's a delayed pass that's going to get tipped up to Rob. He's going to manage to stay onside on the right side of the screen. Throw that across to Chris Marshall, who tips it past the defender and then around the goaltender before sliding it home. And it's now 6-2 for the Jackals. Here come the Hogs again, trying to make this respectable. They're going to pass this off to the left side. That pass over to the right. Player was there, but Trevor gets across nicely and makes a save on a tipped attempt there. Then there's going to be a scrub behind the net. Eventually, the Hogs player is going to win it behind the net and then slide it out front to someone all alone in the middle of the slot. But Trevor gets that right shoulder on the blocker side up to make a nice save. Keep an eye on Gary here. There's a little cross-check shove from behind. That player didn't seem to take it so well, so he comes back with a cross-check across the lower ribs in the back himself, knocking Gary down. So that's a 4-minute power play for the Jackals. So here they are on the power play. Bob trying to put that puck back down to Rob. It gets turned over. David can't get control of it along the wall, and so that player is going to walk in with a breakaway, go to the backhand, but Trevor stays with him, makes a save. So the power play continues. And again, here's another lost puck at the blue line that's going to turn into a breakaway the other way. That player's going to go wide, and before he has time to cut across, Trevor blocks the path and makes yet another breakaway save. Look at this power play continuing on. Here's the third short-handed breakaway for the Hogs on this power play, and yet another save from Trevor. Trevor's going to ask the team to decline the power play next time, so he'll get a lot less work. But the power play is still continuing, and here's one good opportunity as Chris Weeder tries to drag it around the goalie, but he gets knocked off his stick before it can go into the net. So here we continue on the power play. That's how long this is, and a nice little one-timer from Troy that ends up going wide. Darryl throws it back out front again. It's going to come around the wall here to Bruce, and he's going to throw that on net, and that almost finds its way past the goaltender. Has to be able to make a save. So eventually, let's say the Jackals killed that penalty, because certainly the Hogs seem to be the ones on the power play there. But late in the game now, here's Chris Marshall again. He's going to chip that one past the player, and he's going to come in on a break of his own, outweigh the goalie, and then shoot it from essentially the corner, and he finds a space that goes by, and it's stretched now to a 7-2 lead as this game is going to wind down. So that's it for this one. A big victory for the Jackals, taking advantage of the goaltending situation at the other end of the ice. 7-2 win. So let's have a look at the stats. There you see 3 players with 2 goals on the verge of hat tricks: John, Darryl, and Chris. And also note Trevor with 28 saves on 30 shots for his own excellent turn in net here today. And with that, we'll have a look at the overall stats now on the season. You see Chris Marshall and Darryl moving up the goal ladder with those 2 goals on their own. You see the shot distribution. The top 5 players at the top of the table, all very close in shots in the season. So good offensive distribution from the Jackals so far this season. And that's it for this week. The Jackals will be taking on the Rare Rockets in their next game, and we'll be there to show you what happens. See you then.